Welcome back, everyone, to Today in Woburn's election series. Today, we're meeting with one of Woburn's two councilors at large, Rob Toro. Councilor Toro and fellow at large Councilor Bob Ferullo do not have any additional opponents this year. Rob, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I have to ask, how was the first term?
It was great. It actually went by really fast. I felt like it was just yesterday. You get sworn in, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's re-election time. So it went by really fast. It was a fun 2 years.
So what's motivating you to run again?
I'd say still the same things that motivated me to run the first time, which is, you know, knowing that I'm going to be in the city long term. Uh, I love the idea of having an impact on how the city progresses and kind of moves forward. Having kids in the schools and growing up in the city, having a business in the city. But also, I guess, to add to that, maybe being in this role for the last 2 years, I've seen some of the progress that we have made. And I want to continue to build on that and see some of the things that we've started to get or started to do, kind of see those through.
So speaking of some of those projects, what would be your top priorities for your next term?
You know, I think at large is a little bit different than ward councilors. What I've come to realize really is you're there to support all the ward councilors. So I field questions from people from every ward. But I think most of the ward councilors get the majority of the questions, and then they bring us in as support when they need assistance. So I would say some of the things, that I would like to see, or I would like to continue to do, is just continue to support the ward councilors. We are going to have a new Ward 1 councilor that I think, is whoever ends up winning that race is going to need some assistance. Both candidates are great, but continue to support the ward councilors. We got some things going on, the development of downtown, which I'm excited for. The building of the fire station over in East Woburn. The West Side Fire Station is a discussion right now on potentially going over to the Reeves. There's going to be discussions coming up on the new schools, whether it's the new Alta Vesta, the north, the school in the north side of Woburn, and then the middle school. So I'm excited about just building and bring our infrastructure back up to par. But it's a delicate topic, just because it's spending money. So you're trying to do it in creative ways, I think, without really doing the best to not impact the pockets of the citizens of Woburn, which we all are.
Thank you. What's something that's happening in the city that you feel more people should know about?
To be honest, I'd love for more people. I'd love for more people to be engaged just in general in some of the discussions on what's going on with just some of the things I mentioned. The fire stations, the building of the schools. What I've come to see is there's a group of people, a group of very involved and concerned parents and residents in the city that are always involved in everything and have an opinion in everything, which is fantastic. I'd love to see more people like that. In terms of what would I like people to know more of, I think just to pay attention to the fire station in West Woburn, the downtown project. It's really starting to just kind of kick off right now. We're just starting to see maybe some potential designs. I think that's going to be super important, the downtown project, because it's really going to have an impact on everybody. Everybody frequents downtown, whether you're driving through that area, whether you're visiting a restaurant down there, stopping by City Hall. So I think that's going to be important for everyone to kind of keep an eye on, because again, it impacts everybody. It's in the center of our city.
Thank you. When talking with constituents and residents, and I know you're not necessarily, just one ward, what are the challenges that you're hearing from residents that keep coming up?
I'd say it's very much the same type of challenges that I heard when I was campaigning and knocking on doors. People are always concerned about building, right? Building, but in the same token, people are worried about affordable housing, and not enough inventory. Um, so trying to find creative ways. I use that word creative again, but trying to find ways to satisfy both. You know what I mean? Woburn has built a lot. They've done a lot to try to provide some housing stock. Affordable housing, we've had calls and we're dealing with this right now on what's considered affordable, because what is considered affordable on the state level or their income levels is a joke. Um, it's not an affordable house, or the rent is not affordable. So trying to figure out ways to tailor it to Woburn, right? Every community really should be able to tailor what is affordable to their specific community. Because what's affordable in Woburn doesn't necessarily mean it's affordable in Lexington or Winchester or some of the neighboring communities. So
Um, that's a great point. Is there is there a way that you stay connected with residents or the community in between the elections? I mean, you're not having to necessarily knock on doors right now. So how do you keep, involved and connected?
So in many ways, I haven't done it in a few months, but I held multiple after hour just sessions where people can come in, like office hours. We did it at the Community Resource Center. I've done it at City Hall. So I'll get people that will come in there. I have kids that play hockey and that are involved in the city. So whether I'm at the ice rink, or at the baseball field, or any event within the city at one of the schools, people talk to me then. I go to every event, as many as I can, both because I'm a city council, but also because my kids enjoy it too. So I like to just be around. So I want people to feel like they can just approach me and have a discussion. People also have my contact information, whether it's via email or phone. So I always tell people they can call me, they can email me. I'll always respond. I'll always get them an answer. May not be the best answer, or the answer that they want, but I'll get them an answer. But then just again, seeing people outside and just being visible, so that way people can see. I think that I think the city councilors in general, or the elected officials in general, should be visible within the community and not be closed off. So making yourself visible, out there, approachable. And again, the office hours help, but you don't see a lot of people really coming to the office hours, unfortunately. But we do get phone calls. I'll get phone calls and emails pretty frequently.
How do you measure success as a counselor and as a council?
That's a great question. As a counselor, I think being available, and just being a resource to people, being able to answer questions. And it goes back to getting people answers to questions that they have. Again, it may not be what they want to hear, but it's an answer to a question that they have that they haven't been able to answer themselves. But definitely success, in my opinion, is if someone comes to me with a legitimate problem and I can help them solve that problem, whether it's via getting in touch with the DPW and getting something squared away, putting them in contact with somebody that will help with their situation. So I think helping to solve problems, and again, being available as a counselor is the way you show success, in my opinion. As a council, I think showing success is how we can go about getting things done for the city, for the betterment of the city. Government is known to have a lot of red tape. Some of it great, some of it is good, right? You don't want to push everything through, but then there are certain things that you want to get done. So I think having a good working relationship with the counselors and having a good, healthy debate. There's times that we agree on a lot of things, and then there's been times that we've had very healthy debates. But then we leave the council and we're fine, right? So I think being able to have those healthy debates, but I'll at the end come up with a good solution for whatever problem that comes in front of us that everyone feels is going to be better for the city than what it was prior.
Thank you. So my last question to you is what is one area where you think Woburn could take a bold step forward and what would it take to get there? Dream big, Rob.
Yeah, dream big. And I hate to, I sound like a broken record, but I think a bold step is, and we've been kind of dancing around this over the last year or two, is how are we going to go about building both a new North Woburn school and a middle school? You know, it's a lot of money, and it's going to take a lot of people to kind of get that pushed through. But I think pulling the trigger and actually going forward with it instead of dancing around it. I've been a big advocate for the schools. My daughter goes to her first year in the Kennedy Middle School, and she came from the Goodyear. And the Goodyear is a newer school. The Kennedy Middle School and the Joyce, I've been in both. They're they're seeing better days, you know, so they need a new middle school. But North Woburn, without question, needs a new school. You know, between the Linscott and the Alta Vista, they're in rough shape. So I think Bold is trying to figure out a way to get both done, I would say simultaneously, because if you don't and you try to stagger them, you may do one now and you may not get to the next one for 5, 6, 7 years, which then it's going to take 10, 12 years, let's say 10 years or so to actually see that second one come to fruition. I'd love to find a way to figure out how we can go about doing that, I would say. Um, you know, we can always use, I think, another big thing is parking. People think we have, you know, there's not a lot of parking in Woburn, and there's been a running thing that says I think we have a parking management problem, right? Not really a parking problem, because I think getting people to know, especially in the downtown area, where there is parking in the lots. You know, you can use the municipal lots, public library. We have the lot across the street from uh, with the old Tanner Tavern and thing, and the parking up in Man's Court and things like that. So getting people to know where there's parking, and you don't have to park right on Main Street there to jump into one of our local restaurants. I think just kind of spreading the word and developing the downtown. I would say those are the two big things that I'd really like to see us progress forward with, is how we're going to handle the school situation, and then how we're going to handle the parking slash downtown revitalization. Would be two things that I would say could be Woburn can handle in bold ways to really improve the city.
I really appreciate the way you talked about parking in because a lot of people have said like, hey, there is actually a lot of parking in downtown. It's just that nobody knows about it. And so I
Right.
like that it's a communication problem, not a parking problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So I could appreciate that. So that's fantastic. Um, Rob, is there anything else you'd want the voters to know before I let you go?
Well, thank you, I guess I would say thank you for trusting me initially, and you know, voting for me to serve as one of the two city councilors 2 years ago. I know I'm running unopposed this year, but thank you again for the support for another 2 years, and just that I'm always available. If there's any questions, whatever ward it is, you know, as one of the at-large councilors, I love to help however I can, and I want to be a resource and you know, an asset to people. So if there's a question that I can answer, no matter how big or how small, if I can help in any way, reach out to me, phone, email. If you see me in person, I'm always available, and I'd be more than happy to help however I can.
Thank you so much for your time today, Rob. We really appreciate having you in. Just a reminder, everyone, the polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th. So please remember to vote.